One Night Stand with My Code Boss Part 2. The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the room. Zara stirred awake, her head heavy with the remnants of the night before. As the memories flooded back, laughter, kisses, and whispered secrets, she turned to find Adam still asleep beside her, his features softened in the early light. Her heart raced as she recalled their passionate night. But as she looked at him, a sense of apprehension began to creep in. The reality of what had happened settled heavily on her shoulders. What would happen when he wakes up? Would he retreat back into the cold man she knew, the one who kept emotion at bay? Zara slipped out of bed quietly, careful not to wake him. She needed space to gather her thoughts, to process everything that had transpired. In the bathroom, she splashed cold water on her face, her mind racing with questions. Did last night mean anything to him? Would he see her differently now, or would it just be a fleeting moment to him? As she brushed her hair, she heard the soft creak of the bed behind her. Turning, she saw Adam sitting up, his expression unreadable. "Good morning," he said, his voice rough with sleep. "Morning," she replied, trying to gauge his mood. There was a pause, and then Adams ran a hand through his tousled hair. "Last night." "I know," she interrupted, her heart pounding. "It was a mistake." His eyes narrowed slightly, a flicker of frustration crossing his face. "You think it was a mistake?" "I mean, we were drunk," she stammered, searching for the right words. "It doesn't have to change anything." Adam stood, amazed. "It changes everything," he said quietly. "You can't just pretend it didn't happen." Zara's chest tightened. "So what do we do now?" He stepped closer, his intensity shifting. "We acknowledge it. This isn't just a one-night stand, Zara. I feel something with you. Something I didn't expect." Her breath caught in her throat. "But you don't like women." "I've never had a reason to like any woman. I've never felt any connection to any woman before. All the ladies I dated in the past were out of obligation and it didn't end well. I want to see where this would lead us to. Will you be my girlfriend?" Zara's heart raced as Adam's words hung in the air. Yes, I would love to." She searched his face for sincerity, and for the first time, she saw a hint of vulnerability behind his usual stoic demeanor. "We can't let anyone find out," she said, her voice trembling. "You know how the office would react. Your reputation." Adams nodded, his expression hardening. "I'm not concerned about them. Besides, I'm the boss. Let's just keep it professional during work hours and you belong to me immediately the clock strikes 4. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of stolen moments and secret glances. They met discreetly in hotel rooms, exchanged quick kisses in the office stairwell, and sent flirty texts late at night. The thrill of their secret was intoxicating, but so was the weight of deception. Each day in the office, Zara found it increasingly difficult to mask her feelings. Adams was still the cold, commanding boss in public, while in private, he was tender and passionate. However, the tension of living a double life soon began to take its toll. Zara's heart fluttered every time Adams entered the room, yet she felt the ache of longing and frustration grow. She would watch him with colleagues, his sharp wit on full display, while she remained just another employee. But in those quiet moments away from prying eyes, they shared laughter, dreams, and deep conversations about their lives, each encounter drawing them closer. One evening, after a particularly grueling week, they found themselves at a secluded bar, laughing over drinks. Adams had let his guard down, sharing stories about his childhood and the pressures he felt as a leader. Zara felt a pound of empathy. The man she saw behind closed doors was so different from the one who commanded respect in the boardroom. "Zara," he said, suddenly serious. "I don't want to hide you. You mean more to me than just a secret." Her heart swelled at his words. But what if it all goes wrong? What if we lose everything? Sometimes you have to risk it all for what you truly want, he replied, his eyes steady. As their relationship deepened, the fear of being discovered loomed large. They navigated their days in the office with a practiced ease, but it was becoming harder to keep their relationship hidden. Rumors had already started spreading among colleagues about the CEO and his secretary relationship. Zara sensed that others were beginning to suspect something. Then came the fateful day. Zara was in the office kitchen, pouring herself a cup of coffee when she heard raised voices coming from the boardroom. Curiosity piqued, she stepped closer, trying to catch snippets of the conversation. "You can't just ignore the policies," a voice boomed. It was Mark, one of Adam's closest allies. "If the board finds out about your personal life, it could cost you everything." Zara's heart sank. She couldn't let Adam's reputation be tarnished because of their relationship. As she moved to retreat, she accidentally knocked a cup from the counter, shattering it on the floor. The noise echoed in the tense silence, and all eyes turned to her as she stood frozen in place. Adam's gaze met hers, a mix of surprise and concern. The room was silent, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. "Zara," he said, stepping forward, "it's not what it seems." But Zara knew she couldn't let him take the fall for them. I was just getting coffee," she stammered, desperately trying to deflect the attention. But Mark wasn't buying it. "Were you?" he challenged, crossing his arms. "Because it sounds like there's more going on here than just work." The tension crackled in the air as everyone's eyes darted between Zara and Adams. She felt exposed, vulnerable. It was only a matter of time before the truth came out, and they would have to face the consequences. Adams took a deep breath, stepping closer to her, his voice low and firm. "Yes, there is something between us. And I won't hide it any longer." Gasps filled the room, the shock evident on everyone's faces. Zara's heart raced. She had never imagined Adams would go public like this. The gravity of his declaration weighed heavily on her. "Adams, wait," she started, but he silenced her with a look. "I've been hiding from my feelings for too long," he continued, his voice steady. "Zara is not just my secretary, she's someone I care about deeply. I won't let anyone dictate how I feel." The murmurs in the room escalated. Some looked shocked, while others exchanged knowing glances. "This is a breach of company policy," Mark warned, his voice low but filled with authority. "I understand the risks," Adams replied, his tone unyielding. "But I am the boss, I make the rules, and if the board are uncomfortable, then they can withdraw. I want to be with Zara openly, regardless of the consequences." Zara felt a rush of emotions, fear, pride, and an overwhelming sense of relief. They had crossed the threshold, and there was no going back. In the days that followed, the office was rife with gossip. Some colleagues supported them, while others whispered behind their backs. But as the dust began to settle, Adams faced the board, defending his choices with a passion that surprised everyone, including Zara. "I won't compromise my happiness or hers for the sake of a corporate facade," he said in a meeting, looking each board member in the eye. "Zara is not just an employee, she's someone who inspires me, who challenges me, and who makes me a better leader. If you can't accept that, then perhaps we need to reconsider what kind of company we want to be." His words resonated in the room, and slowly, some members began to nod in agreement. The tension eased slightly, and Zara felt a rush of admiration for the man who had so boldly claimed their love. In the end, Adam's courage won out. The company adapted, allowing him to keep his position while ensuring that their relationship would be treated with respect. As they walked hand in hand through the office, their secret no longer a burden but a source of strength, Zara realized they had not only fought for their love but had also changed the dynamics of their workplace forever.